to Upload TV, and thanks for joining The Average Golfer. I'm at Titleist National Fit Centre in St Ives, and alongside me I've got technical expert James.
Yep. Good
to meet James. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah.
Lots of questions to fire at James a bit later on after this fit, but for the time being we're going to have a look at, I've got some ideas in my head what I think I might like to use, but hopefully you can point me in the right direction and see exactly what I should be using. Where we're going to start, hit some balls?
Yep, just warm up.
Right, move the camera, different position, hit some golf balls, and then over to James to, I think the guarantee is at least 2 shots off the handicap, is it, by the end of this?
Hopefully we can do something for you.
Okay, so first step, before we go any further, I've got a few warm-up balls. We're going to check loft and lie.
We've got some magic tape on the club now, and we're going to hit a few off the strike board.
Okay.
And we're going to see where the ball's striking the face and the bottom of the club, and see if there's any adjustments for length and lie required before we proceed with the next step.
Perfect, let's get going. That one for me,
yep.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, so at the moment, very slightly towards the heel
yeah.
here, so we'll keep an eye on that. That could mean that the club's a tiny bit too long, but we'll adjust that as we continue to go through. The lie angle here, we're striking it quite nicely up the middle, and we've got a fairly nice neutral ball flight, not too much going on. So at the moment, we're going to keep standard length, standard lie angle as is, and we'll go through and check a few of the different models
as we go along. Okay, so next step of the fit is we're going to use exactly the same shaft that we've got at the moment, which is what are we at the moment?
This is AMT Black S300 we're going to be using.
Okay, so that'll be the same shaft throughout a number of, we'll try a few different heads, won't we?
Yeah, we're going to keep the shaft a constant, so the length will be the same, the lie angles will be the same, the shaft type, flex and everything else will be identical. We're just going to rotate a few of the different head models on there, check some of the TrackMan data and look at the differances for the looks and the feel and the performance characteristics.
And then go from there. Sounds good? Okay, brilliant.
Starting with the MB?
Yeah, let's do that. I love this club. I love the look of it at least anyway. You've got a lovely feel, these things, haven't they? They really are nice. When this club first came into foregolf, which is where I normally do the fits, I kind of looked at it and thought, it ain't for me. Almost shied away from it, but it's actually, it's more forgiving and user-friendly than you'd quite imagine when you first look at it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as people may imagine.
No.
Maybe as you get down into some of the mid and longer irons,
yes.
We've got a 3-iron that I can let you have.
Yeah, it'll be a different story, yeah.
But yeah, in general, they're not as bad to hit as people may give them credit for, yeah.
And I think that's where, in my head, this idea of building combination sets, where the shorter irons in this type of club, but obviously I couldn't handle this in sort of 3, 4, 5 iron.
Yeah, we definitely see quite a lot of people in the mid and shorter irons, 8 irons, 9 iron pitching wedges. By all means, if you've got the ability, put it in play.
Yeah.
But as we go down the mid and longer irons, that little bit better launch conditions, a little bit more forgiveness.
It certainly helps, doesn't it?
Dispersion is going to be going.
Definitely. Okay, so we're 3 club heads in, MB, CB and the AP2.
Yep, we've hit all the tour iron collection now, if you like. Yeah, and we've got some data that TrackMan's picked up for us nicely here.
Right, so have a look at this, coming up on the screen now, here we go.
So, as we said at the start, we kept the shaft constant, we didn't change that. Your swing speed fluctuated a little bit. The interesting thing here is you actually swung it quickest with the MB,
right.
85, 2 miles an hour on average.
Yeah.
And the CB was 84 and the AP2 was 83.5. But if we look across into the next column at the ball speed, that has increased as we've gone through the set. So the more technology, the more forgiveness that we put in, we're generally seeing a tiny bit more ball speed, and the smash factor's increased as a result. So it's more efficient. So you can see from MB to CB the increase of 3 miles an hour, and then an increase again there in AP2. And what we generally see, as well as the ball coming off the face faster with that little bit of extra technology we've got in there, we generally see the dispersion get a little bit tighter as well, because they are more user friendly and they are a little bit more forgiving. If we look at the carry distances from where we were with the MB up into the AP2, it's 10 miles an hour. Sorry, 10 yards difference for yourself on those shots that we've hit there, just from changing the head on the end of the club.
The data there almost looks staged. It was that good. These numbers really, because straight from the beginning, so the lowest club head speed is producing the highest ball speed, which is the first thing. The
interesting thing, Andy, is we see similar results to this under robot testing, so that's probably credit to your swing.
I wouldn't go that far. Long way from that. But no, that's really interesting numbers straight away. And okay, so that's the 3 tour irons, as we call them, and now we're moving into a club, you said, more driven by distance and forgiveness, maybe?
Yeah, so we've got 3 models now where we've got more exotic materials in the head. We've got some thinner faces. We can increase the ball speed, and we are going to target more distance and forgiveness in these next 3.
Okay.
We're going to start with TMB.
Okay.
MB obviously stands for muscle back with technology in there. So this is going to provide a similar look to the tall ones that we've just hit, but it is going to increase the ball speed and get the distance in there as well if required.
Right, and again, same shaft throughout these, isn't it?
Shaft.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so that's 2 more clubs in, and that was the TMB, and then what do we go to?
Followed by AP1.
Yeah, the power on the AP1.
The rocket.
The rocket,
yeah. Some
okay.
impressive numbers, as you'll put up on the screen now, I'm sure. We can see that going into the TMB, the maximum ball speed we had on the previous model was AP2.
Okay.
We've increased that again to 116. So again,
another mile an hour.
Fast off the face.
Yep.
But in good, sleek looks.
Yes.
The AP1 is very, very impressive, almost at 120 miles an hour ball speed there, and that's still using exactly the same shaft, exactly the same length and flex and line angle in there, and just by changing the head we're now seeing some very serious
this is it. It's worth at this point, I've reviewed all these clubs on separate individual videos. What I like is the fact that it's kind of, I didn't get on so well with the AP2 in the video, but everything else was brought out, to be fair. And I made a big deal out of the AP1 because it was the first sort of what you call game improve iron that came along that really changed my mind, if you like, on what I should be perhaps considering playing. And when you see numbers like that, it's a huge difference, isn't it? Huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things we've seen over the last few weeks since we've launched the clubs, AP2 is the gold standard for tour iron. We're well aware of that, and the player that's playing the AP2 is still enjoying putting that club in play. It looks great, it feels great, it ticks all the boxes, and you had some joy with it.
Yes,
and
I did.
The numbers were actually very good. The AP1, we've actually got a lot of better players to hit it that wouldn't necessarily consider that previously, and the feedback from that is, do you know what, that's a good looking club. It's obviously bigger in profile than some of the other ones, but it's incredible ball speeds, and we're seeing some fantastic numbers.
Well, it's a compromise, isn't it? It's no longer, it's still a fairly sleek look, I would say, though. It's not a big, bulky club. It's not majorly off-putting at all, but like I said, that performance is incredible.
And the feel and the noise it made off the face?
Yeah, it's fine, more than happy with it. Again, that's what I said in the first video that I did with it. It changed my whole sort of mindset, to be honest with you. So what are we on to next?
So now we've got the new kid on the block,
right?
AP3,
okay,
which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of already. Where this fits in is these are the 3 most popular irons that we're producing at the moment. And the AP2 player is targeting looks and is targeting feel, and we're well aware of that. And the AP1 does want that distance and forgiveness aspect.
Yes.
The difference between the 2 is, if you were to take one over the other one, there may be ever such a slight compromise. So if you went for AP1 to keep the distance in there, you might sacrifice the looks of the AP2 if you're a better player, and vice versa. You put the AP2 in, you might sacrifice a little bit of the distance that the modern. So potentially this is
the compromise of the 2, really, is it?
This one here is going to get very similar ball speeds to AP1. It's got some fantastic technology in there, and it is very long and very forgiving. But when you put that down, it'll be interesting to get your thoughts on the looks and the profile behind the ball. It is providing a very similar look to the AP2, and it feels sensational at the same time.
Looking forward to this one then. Oh, nice. I think in terms of immediate response as well, the first ball of course a little bit thin, but the second ball out the middle, it's still got an incredibly soft feel to it, hasn't it? Whereas this isn't a forged head, is it? No.
No, and that's one of the challenging things for the R&D team. Can they get the technology in there? There's a huge amount of tungsten which is putting the weight around the process to give it forgiveness. It's got a new exotic material in the face which is very thin, which is giving us the speed. But can we make it feel as good as the tool blade iron? And the response generally is. It
is soft, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's AP3's hit. I haven't seen the numbers yet either, so here we go. What do we do?
Before we do the comparison, what did you think of the club?
Yeah, I was impressed. And again, going back to the initial testing I did, it was I love the looks of this one. More compact head, thinner top line than the AP1, and it did have that softer feel. So yeah, more than happy with it. And to be fair, I'll be interested in the numbers.
From a ball speed perspective, it's up there with AP1.
Okay.
So we can see with the AP1 we were 1196 average. We dropped a tiny bit to 1194, but it's
okay, right up there still, yeah.
The encouraging thing with these two clubs as well is the way that they actually perform. And if we compare all the data, it's not just good enough to make the ball come fast off the face. It has to be total performance, we call it. So we want to hit a nice specific height so that when it comes down on that steeper angle of descent, we've got some stopping power.
Quicker,
we want to keep the spin in there as well. But if we can maximise ball speed whilst keeping the conditions the same, it's great.
It's a mix of everything.
If we look at the launch, it's very similar throughout the set. If we look at the spin, there's not huge amounts of differences between them. So we are hitting those conditions that we require. From a carry point of view, that AP3 there is up at 171.8 average in comparison to where we started in the tour models around the sort of 150 to 160 mark.
Incredible difference,
Yeah, we're seeing generally it's a club longer than most other models.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back down to the MB, it's almost 2 clubs different, isn't it, really? And I think the interesting thing, like I said, is that perception of and the importance of custom fit really is the perception of what you think and how it's performed, but seeing it in numbers, and every aspect of those numbers is interesting. I mean, for me, almost, and I think you'd agree, MBs are not for me, are they?
You really enjoyed hitting them, and you were taken by surprise a little bit the fact that they weren't as difficult as you'd thought. But then when you actually examine the data,
it's too much of a difference. Yeah, well, that's what I think.
Available.
Yeah, and I don't think ultimately you can't ignore those kind of numbers, those kind of gains. And when a club's performing as it did, and this is what I go back to those AP1s when I first tested them, I was blown away by sort of the additional yardage, but also the spin and the stopping power. The descent angle again was very sharp, so really interesting.
So all 6 of the new models hit. Has anything stood out, or is there a favourite amongst them, or have we narrowed it down to 2 or 3 options potentially?
I think for me, I would dismiss although I love the MBs, I wouldn't play them because of performance. I don't think, and again, maybe down the short irons I could have done it, but in the longer stuff, there's no way you go through the full set with those. I think again, AP1s, I like the performance of them, and maybe again this is where I don't know whether would I need those in maybe 4-5 iron.
We could test them.
Maybe 4-5-6 iron and the likes of those, and then back into this. But the AP2s, whilst they got the nice feel, again, perhaps for me, I was just more swayed towards a bit of assistance and the feel in the AP3, if I'm honest with you. And the TMB, I don't know, it's not. For me, visually, I'm too off-put by that before I start, so that's one that I can't do. But yeah.
Well, as we evolve and go through the fitting process, what we're going to do now is do some shaft comparisons.
Right, okay, should be interesting.
Correct shaft in there. We'll revisit the length and the lie. We've checked it once already, but we'll revisit that to make sure we've got perfect ball flight. And then we'll evolve that again and look at the composition, where we're going to start the set, where we're going to finish the set. Do we keep it consistent, or does it warrant putting a split combo together?
Sounds perfect. And I know a lot of questions about the shaft, so the next bit should be very interesting. A lot of people asking about this, so how much difference. It'll be interesting to see when we try a few others, how much difference, or if any difference it makes, or maybe you just got it spot on from the beginning. We shall see.
Perfect. Heavy maybe?
It did.
A few times.
No, it did. That was the first shaft I used, was it? Okay, so we've pretty much established in the, you have to remind me of the numbers because I keep forgetting them, AP3, isn't it?
AP3 was performing very well in the 7 iron, yeah.
So that's where we're at with the numbers on the 7 iron, but I'm also interested in this possibility of a combination set. So what we're going to have a look at is going to have a look at some of the forged models in the shorter irons, and then some of the game improvement, is that the right word?
Yeah, some of the things that we see is people definitely in the shorter irons, 8 iron, 9 iron pitching wedges, that end of the bag, they really do like the look and the feel and the performance of this type of club. So I've got, for example, I've got the MB and the AP2 in pitching wedges here. We can hit those and we can let people decide if that's a performance and feel and control that they're looking for down that end of the game. Sometimes when we get down the sort of mid and longer irons, they're not as user friendly as some of the others. So there are plenty of options available. We've got the TMB, which Jordan Spieth likes in the long irons in particular. So these are going to give us better launch conditions, better distance, more gapping options down that far end of the bag. We've got the new AP3, which again has been popular on tour with some of the guys in the long iron. We've got AP1s that we could potentially put in there as well. So the split set options are almost endless.
They are,
and that puts an even bigger emphasis on custom fitting. So we really need to get people in to try the options against each other to see what set is going to maximise their game if we're considering a split set option.
Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I'll do some of the shorter irons in the 2 forge clubs, and then we'll try some of the longer irons. Have a look at the numbers as we did previous, and go from there.
The longer ones in particular
is an issue. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much fit over, and from a personal perspective, I really enjoyed it. It was obviously a tech specialist like yourself. It was great to have a look through. I've done the whole range of irons, really, haven't I? Start to finish.
You must be quite
I'm tired now.
So, yeah.
But we went. What we did there, the last bit was we looked at, like I said, the short irons and the longer irons. We've tried pretty much everything. We'll go through the final numbers, and James will better summarise than me, but the interesting thing from my perspective is not to come with any preconceived ideas, because we looked at a combo set, but ultimately it didn't look that way for me, did it?
No. There's a lot of options available to us now, and a combo set is absolutely nothing wrong with it, but going through the process where we started and we hit all 6 models against each other with the mid irons and the 7 iron, one of them outperformed the others, so we looked down the route of that one. And then we went through the length and the lie test, which established which one we need to do. We then tried plenty of shafts, and we established the best one in there, and then to finalise the bit that we've just done now is the composition of the set. And this is where potentially combo sets could come into the equation. So we actually went down the long end game of the bag, and we hit some of the product against each other. We've hit AP2s, AP1s, AP3s, and one of them again stood out more than the other ones with regards to what you thought about the club, and the numbers backed it up as well. And then went down the short end game of the club and hit pitching wedges, including the MB we threw in the mix, the AP2 and the AP1 and the AP3. And again, one of those products stood out amongst the others. And the fascinating thing for yourself is all 3 products in the mid irons and the long irons and the short irons was the same model.
And it really was. I mean, even so much as down the wedge, where I was really expecting the MB to, it was again really soft to feel, but I noticed with a couple of shots with the wedge, I hit a couple of off-centre strikes, let's say. And I did that with the AP3s, and sort of you get away with it, don't you? There's just that little bit more forgiveness and assistance. And
with regards to dispersion, we want a tighter dispersion as possible, and when we're missing the centre of a product like the MB, the ball speed can drop. So it's not just missing a target left and right, but you can also have front to back dispersion. It makes it greater. With the forgiveness that we got in there, the ones we didn't quite catch perfectly at the sweet spot, we did have that forgiveness and the dispersion tightened right down, and we were hitting the number more consistently.
I think very much in my case, the AP3s, there's too many numbers on these things, I keep forgetting, but the AP3s pretty much did what they said on the tin. It's very much a mix of the best of everything, isn't it?
It's a very good product,
Enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed it too. That's us pretty much finished. Comments down below, what you thought of the video. Hopefully thumbs up and you did like that one. Next video is going to be, we're going to sit down, hopefully get another 15-20 minutes with James, and all your questions will be fired at James, see if we can get some answers all ready for that.
Perfect.
So that's the next one to do. So as ever, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon.